Let's move on to our second main topic today. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This is from Philip G193. Hey, Campea. I was thinking about this for a couple of weeks now. Do you think Rise of Skywalker could be the last time we'll hear the Star Wars theme song? I'm not sure about you, but for me, I kind of associate that theme with the Skywalker Saga. Do you think there'll be new themes for the next new trilogies? Or do you think they'll have the same theme and has nothing to do with the Skywalker Saga? I never really even thought about how John Williams so tied that to Luke and everyone. How do you feel about that?
Here's the thing. This was a question that first kind of came up when Rogue One was coming out. And word came out that stunned a lot of us. And to this day, I honestly think is one of the worst mistakes Lucasfilm has made. And that was that Rogue One was not going to have the opening crawl, that traditional opening crawl of a Star Wars movie. Only then, being punched in the left testicle, Lucasfilm then came out and doubled that up with a punch to the right testicle to say, oh, and by the way, the movie's not going to start with the traditional Star Wars music. It's like, what? And by the way, I love Rogue One. I love that movie. But to this day, I've seen it about 7 or 8 times now. When I put it on and hit play, something just feels off at first. It just feels off. Now, the excuse that they made at the time, their rationale, and it's not completely without merit, but their rationale at the time was, well, the opening crawl is something that is really indicative of the main saga stories. The opening crawl and that classic Star Wars music, that's for the main saga stories, and everything else needs to be something else just so we can have something to differentiate it. And I'm like, okay, I there's some merit to that. That's fine, except for one little thing. Everything in Star Wars, video games, television shows, comic books, for heaven's sakes, comic books had opening crawls. The video games all had opening crawls and the iconic music of John Williams. Da, 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 that, see, the opening crawl to me and that opening Star Wars music, that to me is a doorway that speaks directly, brothers and sisters, to our hearts. We all have a Star Wars shaped hole in our heart that only John Williams can fill. And when we come into a Star Wars movie and we see an opening crawl and we hear that opening music, it's not telling us that you're about to watch a Star Wars episodic story. It tells us and welcomes our hearts into the Star Wars universe. That's what it does. And Rogue One is a great example about how it just feels off from the beginning. Afterwards, you get into it because it's such a great movie, all that kind of stuff. Felt the same way about Solo. I mean, I really enjoy Solo, but that opening without the Star Wars fanfare, without the opening crawl, it just feels wrong. It feels wrong. Now, is this the most important thing in the world? Obviously not. We're talking about the first minute of a movie that comes and goes and then it's gone, then you move on with the rest of the movie. I don't want to overstate it, although I know I'm using a lot of hyperbole here. I admit that. But it's special and it's great. And historically, they've always used the music and opening crawl in every medium, even the comic books minus the music. Even the comic books would have opening crawls in the beginning. You know what differentiates saga movies from everything else? The story. That's what differentiates it. You don't need to have, let's just change that music. No, that Star Wars theme, that opening crawl is what welcomes us and ushers us and transports us into the Star Wars universe, now ready to see and hear whatever story you want us to tell. And I think that's been a tragic mistake on their part. And getting to the specific of the question itself, Rob, do I think this could be the final time that we hear that iconic Star Wars music at the beginning of a movie? That speaks directly to, is this going to be the last Star Wars episodic movie? Will Lucasfilm move on and do an episode 10 someday and an episode 11, even though it's not part of the Skywalker saga per se? I still think they will, but there's a possibility they won't. And if they won't, yeah, episode 9 is going to be the last time we hear this music opening up a Star Wars movie, according to their logic and what they're saying at Lucasfilm. And I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. It's not the worst mistake in the world, but I think it's a mistake. And they don't seem to be showing any signs of budging from that, which I think is silly. Anyway, Rob, you see all this. What do you think about it?
Dude, I'm with you 100%. The Star Wars theme and the crawl is, not the theme itself, but the crawl was derived from 40s serials.
Right.
They would begin with these crawls. They set the story. That is Star Wars. And what I always loved as a kid with Star Wars Empire and Jedi was, okay, you get the Star Wars theme, but it's how then the score would be transitioned out of that theme, like when the camera pans over Tatooine, or you see the launching the probe droids, or at the beginning of Jedi, you see another Star Destroyer in the Death Star, or whatever. If you're not using the idea, first of all, for studios that pay so much money to marketing people, the idea that you wouldn't have the Star Wars theme is your brand. It's like the James Bond theme at the beginning of a movie, dun 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 dun. You know what it is. To not use the Star Wars theme is the height of idiocy, and it is weird corporate branding. Ooh, let's look at this on a spreadsheet, because whoever made that decision is not a Star Wars fan, does not understand that yes, this is your entire brand wrapped up in a few musical notes. And every single Star Wars project should start with a theme and start with a crawl. That is Star Wars. That's just what it is. You want to have somebody else come in and do the theme, do it, like recompose it. That's what's fun with the James Bond themes.
Yeah.
If they bring somebody on
Exactly.
to do a new, if Michael came in, or you had Bill Conti come in for Your Eyes Only. The James Bond theme was a James Bond theme, but there was they recomposed it, and the composer would slightly put a spin on it and do it differently. But you still get the theme. That's how the movies begin, and it is just inane. Rogue One made me angry that it didn't have that Star Wars theme. Even the way it started, I'm like, I get what they're trying to do. Oh, we have to differentiate our movies. Why? You're making a Star Wars movie that's set in the Star Wars universe. That's what it is. You guys, that was another stupid corporate mandated decision that was found in some boardroom somewhere. It was dumb. And to not use one of the great themes ever written for movies, you've got the ultimate branding, and to not use it, you people are idiots for not using the Star Wars theme.
Yeah, not a lot of two ways about it here. I love the fact that you brought up, even if you just want to go from a business point of view, Rob, I like the point you're making here about branding. Forget my heart, which you've broken. Forget all the sentimentality. Forget the specialness of it. If you want to put all that aside for a second, fine. But you raise a great point. From a business point of view, no one will ever have branding like this ever again. And that crawl, that music is such an integral part of this IP that, I just don't understand. I really hope they go back on this.
John,
I really do.
Rogue One, it says on the poster, a Star Wars story. Mm-hmm. Well, when it starts, then give me that. Give me that burst of adrenaline that I get. Whoever decided back in 1977 to have the fanfare the way it came on and the words Star Wars going back into the distance, that was a genius move. And why anybody would not want to continue using that and continue using that crawl, because that gets everybody hyped and it sets the story. It's a great storytelling shortcut as well. It shows just how stupid people can be at the highest levels of any company.
Yeah, Chris, what do you think about all this?
Well, we are speaking in hypotheticals here, though, of could this even be a thing? Because we're not sure they're going to cut everything when they do make these movies in the future. I think from what you guys are saying and what other fans have said, too, they know now, hey, people get real pissed when we don't put these songs in here. Now, do I think maybe we won't get Leia's theme in the next set of movies? Possibly. But I still think we'll have all of the ba-bam right when everything starts. I think we'll have the same music when those TIE fighters or whatever kind of new ship is coming in to, mess with our rebels or mess with our heroes, whatever we're dealing with in the new movies or the other Star Wars stories. But I think, I just can't imagine that they would stop using that epic John Williams music. That seems so dumb.
That's it. It seems dumb, but I don't know, guys. Listen, I admit, we are talking about the first 45 seconds to minute of a movie. It doesn't make or break the movie. I still ended up loving Rogue One. I know, but it just, there's just no good reason not to use them, and I fear they may not moving forward. Question is, guys, what do you think about all this? Jump down into the comment section below. Agree or disagree? I want to hear from you either way. Let me know what you think about that. Jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.